गुड इवनिंग एंड वेलकम टू गाना शॉट। गाना शॉट में आप सबका स्वागत है। टुडे टुडे दिस अ स्पेशल वेबिनार। This is a CASA and Gana Short webinar on Munir as president and what are the implications for Pakistan and the world. I have with me our panelists as you go clockwise: Brigadier Arun Saigal, General Gautam Murthy, and General KJ Singh. Sirs, good evening to you and welcome to Gana Short and this CASA webinar at the outset. It's a
Thank
pleasure to
you.
have you all back here.
Thank you, sir.
Right.
Thank you.
Uh, at the outset, I'd like to put things across that look, why did we choose this subject? We chose this subject because, as is the tradition in Pakistan, here is a chief who's about to become a president. Why do I say about to become a president? He's already attempted it thrice. He's thrice, this news has come out from Pakistani media that there is something afoot to remove Asif Ali Zardari from that post on one pretext or the other, on one way or the other. And every time there's a new twist in the tale. And in the last time, just before Mr. Shahbaz Sharif went and met Mr. Zardari, he met the chief of army staff also. And knowing what Munir is, his ambition and everything, and the track record of Pakistan, it is only logical that we anticipate that this gentleman will, become a president. As it is, he's ruling the country. Becoming a president only makes him, a official ruler. And it's whether you call it a constitutional coup, soft coup, hard coup, but whatever it is, it's on the air. It is this in view that I've requested, or esteemed panel to weigh in and see whether this has any depth. Is there any value to this? And if he does become the president next in Pakistan, what are the implications for India and everyone else? Right? With this short preamble, I'd first request General KJ Singh to weigh in with his opinion for the simple reason he's done a study on Pakistan, its chiefs, and coups and auto. And I'm sure he'll factor this in this opinion he's going to give. General KJ, sir, all yours.
See, Jai Hind viewers. Firstly, I am grateful. मेरे को बड़ी खुशी है कि मैं दोबारा गनर शॉट और कासा के मीडियम से I am connecting with you. So my request to all of you is that please subscribe to this channel, put your like and become members of this great strategic dialogue, because this is democratizing the strategic dialogue down to common people. Now, I know I am the junior most in this panel, and junior
No,
most,
sir, I am the junior most. Sorry.
but you are the ring
I am
master.
the junior most, yeah. I am only a brigadier, yeah.
No, you are the ring master. So junior most का काम होता है फौज में कि फैक्ट्स को कलेक्ट करना, और मैं यूनिवर्सिटी में एक प्रोफेसर भी रहा और हूँ, तो मैंने एक किताब में इसका एनालिसिस भी किया है। देखिए, ऐसा है कि पाकिस्तान में जो गवर्नेंस है वो 43-33 रफली रही है। सिविलियन गवर्नमेंट 43 इयर्स, मिलिट्री गवर्नमेंट 33 इयर्स। लेकिन उन 43 सिविलियन गवर्नमेंट में भी उनके डिफेंस मिनिस्टर हैज हिमसेल्फ सेड, ख्वाजा आसिफ, दैट it's a hybrid form of government which is running. So, Pakistan Army has found a wonderful method to exercise power and authority without being accountable. So, will they now like to take accountability? Now, let me just roll out the history in front of you. The first person who took over the presidency was Ayub Khan, who made himself field marshal. Now, Ayub Khan is, because this channel is also for education, I take it like this. Ayub Khan was a Pashtun. He ruled for 11 years. Since this was early days of democracy, he got himself elected also. And in those 11 years, he appointed 2 surrogate chiefs of army staff. One, Muhammad Musa Khan, and second, Muhammad Yahya Khan. Both Pakhtuns, both Shias. In a Sunni nation, if you have a Shia chief, then he is on your. आप उसको कहीं भी नचा सकते हैं क्योंकि वो देश ही सुन्नियों का है, शिया का तो क्या मतलब उनको मार्जिनलाइज करते हैं। तो उसने दो शिया चीफ लगाए और उनको पपेट की तरह चलाया अयूब खान। लेकिन जब वो हट रहा था तो उसने पावर यह्या खान को दे दी। यह्या खान भी पख्तून है जैसे मैंने आपको बताया। उन्होंने रफली 3 इयर्स प्रेसिडेंसी या मार्शल लॉ एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन किया और उस सारे टाइम पे कोई चीफ अपॉइंट नहीं किया। तो पहला प्रिंसिपल तो ये है कि पाकिस्तान में प्रेसिडेंट बनना इतना इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है, ना ही प्राइम मिनिस्टर, लेकिन चीफ बनना सबसे ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट। आप इस बात को ऊपर गौर जरूर करिएगा। नाउ उसके बाद जो नेक्स्ट जनरल ने चीफ बनने का, चीफ से मार्शल लॉ और प्रेसिडेंट बनने का काम किया, वो था जियाउल हक। उसने 10 साल तक प्रेसिडेंसी की या मार्शल लॉ एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर। उसमें उसने भुट्टो को हैंग भी कर दिया, ही हैंग भुट्टो। बट व्हाट इज द मोस्ट सरप्राइजिंग थिंग इज ही नेवर अपॉइंटेड आर्मी चीफ, he continued to be army chief. And even more interesting, he never vacated the army house. In Rawalpindi, when the government moved to Islamabad, the prime minister's house was given to the chief. देखिए, पाकिस्तान एक अलग कंट्री है, प्राइम मिनिस्टर का घर चीफ को दे देते हैं। इंडिया में जब इंडिया इंडिपेंडेंट हुई तो कमांडर इन चीफ का घर छीन के प्राइम मिनिस्टर उसमें घुस गया। They are two different countries. Just compare it like this. Now what happens? Now Ziaul Haq never appoints a chief and stays in the same house. Whether he found it lucky or whatever it is, but he never moved out. It is his unfortunate assassination. Otherwise, he would have ruled for more number of years. Who would have stopped? Now comes in Pervez Musharraf. He disposed of Nawaz Sharif and he exiled him. He threw him out. You go out to UAE. He sent him out. And Pervez Musharraf remained at the helm of affairs for 7 long years. And interesting, for 6 years he did not appoint a chief. No army chief. No army chief. Once again, it is only in the last year he appointed Pervez Kayani as the chief of army staff. Did he vacate the army house? No, sir, no. He continued to stay in the army house. Even after when he resigned as the president, he did not vacate the army house. 9 months after he had relinquished all the appointments, military or civil, Kayani Saab had to throw his luggage out into an officer mess. While Pervez Musharraf was out on a lecture tour in foreign country. This is Pakistan, an interesting country. We should definitely study these historical interesting facts which are there in Pakistan. So what kind of government are we looking at? What government it is? Many Indians, when they analyze this subject, see, our problem with Pakistan is हम सब सोचते हैं हम पाकिस्तान को अच्छी तरह से जानते हैं, लेकिन हम जानते we have China study group, we have China oriented think tanks.
Yeah, the internet is unstable today.
कंट्री में एक थिंक टैंक नहीं है जो पाकिस्तान की फॉर्मल स्टडी ठीक तरीके से करता है और ना हम बनाना चाहते, ना कोई यूनिवर्सिटी ऐसा डिपार्टमेंट स्टार्ट करना चाहती। आई ट्राइड इन पंजाब यूनिवर्सिटी, nobody agreed. So here, now see the interesting thing. Pakistan used to have a semi-presidential form of government till 18th Amendment, which was passed in 2007. That time the president had the power to even dismiss the prime minister. And Ghulam Ishaq Khan had done that. And so they had gone to Supreme Court, and Nawaz Sharif got a reprieve from there. Stay was given, a reprieve was given, he was reinstated, and then that time chief, Kakkad, Abdul Wahid Kakkad, he forced both Nawaz Sharif and President to resign, both of them. Actually, Ghulam Ishaq Khan was a very strict president of Pakistan. He enjoyed the presidency the most. He actually marginalized Prime Minister quite a lot. Now the main question that I would like to address to myself is that for what is our friend Asim Munir trying to become the president? Why? One or two or three reasons which come to my mind at least are that one is the current dispensation in Pakistan is somewhat illegitimate. The government which was put in place really did not have the majority. And when it came to nominating the nominated members, which are done in proportion of seats won by parties, the Supreme Court again recently gave a ruling to say that since PTI candidates fought as independents, they are not entitled to that position. So Muslim League is somehow managed to be there. So there is a degree of this government not being legitimate. There is also reportedly some pressure from USA because people say that a lot of Trump's followers are also Muslim followers are aligned with Imran Khan. So there was a talk also that when our friend Asim Munir was called, one of the probable things which was told to him is that don't be harsh on Imran, rehabilitate him somehow. So what is it they are looking for? I am not too sure. If I was Asim Munir, why would I like to become president? Only thing is, now that he's become the field marshal, how long does he continue? And it was only about 6 to 8 months back, his popularity was at the bottom most. I believe junior officers were very upset with him. There were letters being written again and all kinds of things happening.
Yes.
Now his popularity is at the highest. So what he's doing, what game he's playing, we have more experienced panelists who will be able to answer these questions. But I would tend to look at this that he is an insecure man. When he became the chief, he was not the most popular candidate. He was not. He is from Baluch regiment, same regiment as Bajwa, and another important character in Pakistan, Asim Malik, who's currently the NSA and who's also DG ISI, is also from Baluchi. So there is some regimental lobby or something which is there. But problem is, Asim Malik cannot be made a surrogate chief. He has not commanded a corps. He's been an adjutant general. He's been DG ISI, but he's not commanded a corps. So he's a sword of honor. He's a very, very proficient officer, but such are the challenges. So I think I've taken a lot of time already, and there are some very experienced and much more, what should say, erudite panelists over here. तो मैं आजकल जैसा हम सेमिनार्स में बोलते हैं, आप लोगों को थोड़ा थोड़ा हंसते भी रहना चाहिए. मैं आजकल हिंदी पे बहुत जोर है, मैं अपनी वाणी को विराम देता हूँ और जो हमारे एंकर है उनसे रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ कि आप इस वार्तालाप को आगे लेकर जाएं।
Thank you, sir. I think आपने बहुत अच्छे पॉइंट दिए कि you given a history of how power has changed hands, especially the military power has changed hands in Pakistan. You also put across a very pertinent point as to why will he like to take over power and become a dictator or a coup, whatever you call it, president, when he has when he is at this point of time, uh, he's in a position of full authority without responsibility, without any accountability. So will he do it? But then rumors are that he will do it. Right. And why would he do it when he's at the high? I mean, one way of looking at it is why would he do it? The other way is why wouldn't he do it? Especially when he's at the height of his popularity to satisfy his own insecurities and his personal ambitions. These are the issues which we need to discuss. Right. With this, I'd request General Gautam Murthy, sir, your views on whether why Munir wants to become the president. Will he become the president? If he does, what will happen? Your views, sir.
Thank you, General Shankar. Good evening to you, good evening to my fellow panelists, and good evening to the viewers. We've just heard a very fascinating account by General KJ, whose views I always look forward to, and he has done some very deep digging into Pakistan and what makes Pakistan what it is, and why is it that we are discussing this very curious subject, I would say. It is speculative, it is interesting. Why? Because Munir has been fancying himself as a savior of Pakistan, who has been ordained to wear this crown. A lot of talk emanates from the way he has projected himself. In fact, General Shankar has mentioned one of the reasons for having this is what has come out from Pakistan itself. And I read a wonderful article on this, hats off to Professor Junaid Ahmed, and I'm quoting him verbatim. He's written in that article, General Munir never lets a microphone pass without invoking his status as a Hafiz, a man who has memorized the Quran. It is a credential he wields like a talisman, as if the scripture will absolve the sins of his regime. What is grotesque is the sanctimony with which Munir cloaks his betrayals. It is not enough to oppress a people, he must do it in the name of faith. It is not enough to sell out a nation. He must do it quoting the Hadith. The performance is exhausting but effective, at least to those who are too starved to notice they are being fed poison with golden spoons. Can you imagine the words? These words ring so true because if you have seen Munir and if you've been following him, his nickname is the Deceiver. And it is a name that he earned not now, but many, many years ago in service. So, back to the basic question, why would he want to be president when he holds the unprecedented rank of Field Marshal? That is, while effectively serving as the Chief of Army Staff, an arrangement that makes him the most powerful military figure in decades in Pakistan. A Field Marshal and COS, he holds more power than any ceremonial president under the current parliamentary constitution. Now, that is something to be noted. Under the current parliamentary constitution, he benefits from practical control over both politics and the military without scrutiny and the ceremonial constraints of presidency. This rank provides him with immunity from civilian and judicial oversight, a lifetime tenure. Again, to your viewers, must understand while a general, a chief of army staff has a limited tenure, has a finite tenure, a field marshal has no tenure. A field marshal never retires. And he's got privileges unable to any other human in Pakistan. With this before us, what could be the possible motives apart from his messianic zeal, that believing that he's been sent down, he's been sent by none other than Allah, the God himself, to seek and formalize and legitimize his power. What would the presidency give Munir? At the outset, I'd like to say that the presidency gives Munir a legitimate constitutional platform for his authority. General KJ Singh just mentioned that there have been cases in the past, yes, who have taken on, but they ultimately, whether it was General Ayub Khan, whether Ziaul Haq or Musharraf, they became presidents. He wants to carry out a systematic transformation of the polity of Pakistan by amending the constitution in such a manner yet again, and in a manner that he has the constitutional amendments which would make a president all powerful. Rumors have been circulating, as General Shankar mentioned, that the constitution would switch from a parliamentary mode to a presidential system, in which the presidency would become the locus of the executive power. If such amendments occur, controlling the presidency would mean controlling all the levers of state, making him even more pivotal than his current position. The other reason could be, I take your mind to the current meeting and the lunch he had with President Trump recently. Munir was obviously acutely aware that even with his vast informal power, his position as Chief of Army Staff is not the same as President. He wants to continue to represent Pakistan as its head. And in order to do that, he needs to resolve this ambiguity once and for all. He wants to be seen as an equal by world leaders when sharing a platform with them, and not as someone who has usurped power and who's there because of this ambiguous situation of Pakistan. While Pakistanis may understand, other world leaders are more circumspect. And the fact that he sat at the same table and President Trump treated him as a leader of a nation, Munir would like to formalize that position. The other reason is, under the present constitution, a chief or a field marshal could theoretically be removed by any elected prime minister. And somehow, should Imran Khan magically be released from prison, as what General KJ has alluded to, because the pressure coming on Trump would have had a word with him, then a presidency under a reform system might be a safer and a more permanent position. I put it to you all to think about it. And therefore, would it not entrench his power beyond this fragile right now army-civilian balance? And with Imran in jail and the government installed by him, General KJ mentioned, which has practically stolen the people's mandate, he needs something more to cement his place. Hence, therefore, many of us are convinced that he has set the stage for his minions to do his bidding, with the dastardly, religiously fueled attack on innocent tourists in Pahalgam, singling out Hindus, carried out by terrorists belonging to the TRF, which has recently been banned. And everyone knows that TRF is just another name for the LET, to give it a more sort of a broad-based name without bringing religion into it. They called it the Resistance Front. And before that, you would all recollect that he spoke about the two-nation theory and how Muslims cannot live with Hindus. He knew when he did this, he took a calculated risk that India would respond strongly. However, I do not think he bargained for what transpired in the wee hours of Saturday, 10th May, when they were bombed to smithereens, their Air Force and the other installations. Anyway, he sold it to the people of Pakistan as a victory and promoted himself as a field marshal, taking credit for this victory. But public memory is short. As successes of India strike slowly but surely come tumbling out, Munir realizes that he needs something much more to save himself. Something that can get him immunity from the wrath of Imran Khan, as I mentioned earlier. The space for Munir is shrinking. It will make him resort to more desperate measures to save his throne. Pakistan is digging a deeper hole into itself. General Shankar and I have discussed economically where they are. They are absolutely in the dumps. The people are struggling for food, they're struggling for water, and the only legal way out for him is to have the constitution amended and get himself anointed as president, much in the same manner that he got himself anointed as field marshal. I will end by quoting General Ziaul Haq. He once said, "There is only one grave and two bodies. Either it's going to be Bhutto or me." Munir also knows that, and that there is only one grave, and he cannot take the risk of bumping off Imran Khan in jail. If that happens, he knows it could lead to an all-out civil war in Pakistan, resulting in absolute chaos that neither the police nor his army will be able to manage. Thus, I believe that the entire exercise is carrying out with straws that he is floating of wanting to become a president. And as General KJ Singh very beautifully brought out, if history is any reminder, one has to just see what General Ayub Khan did. First anointed himself as Field Marshal and later as president, then General Ziaul Haq and Musharraf, both without anointing themselves as Field Marshal, became presidents to achieve some sort of a legacy, some sort of a symbolic leadership, and to protect themselves from future legal vulnerability. Munir, I believe, is simply following in their footsteps. That is all that I have to say, General Shankar. Thank you very much. Back to you.
Excellent.
Thanks a lot, sir. Very important points. He wants to be the savior of Pakistan. He's ordained to lead Pakistan to its destiny. He's a Hafiz. Well, he's known as the deceiver. So we don't know whom he's deceiving, whether he's deceiving himself, the people of Pakistan, or whoever. Right? And he has initiated constitutional amendments that whatever he does cannot be held, he cannot be held responsible in a court. Right? That constitutional bench, which is, as part of the constitutional amendment, which is configured, is now completely under the government, and the government is completely under his thumb. Yeah, the odd chance is that should something happen and Imran Khan come out of jail due to various things, and whatever happens, he wants to get into a place where he cannot be prosecuted. And that only place is as the head of the state. So that's the logical way. There is a illogical way of being a deceiver and ordained and all that. So the fundamental issue is, why would he do it when he's got all the power and he doesn't have to let Imran Khan come out? And so far, whatever he has done, he's been very clear in his mind that he will do what he wants to do and he will listen to no one. Also, there are rumors in USA, not only in USA, even in Pakistan, to say, look, he's promised Trump quite a bit without even aiming to deliver anything. And he, being the deceiver he is, he will deliver nothing. So it's still a riddle. It's still a enigma. So that's where it is. So with this, sir, your view, whether Munir will become the president, or will he aspire to be the president, or will he get there? Your turn, sir, Brigadier Arun Sehgal, sir.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be on your show, and I'm actually a little bit overwhelmed by the kind of responses that are so far. You covered just about everything, and being the last person, I really have to think through what new things I have to say. Okay, so coming to the basic point, I will look at Munir from two perspectives: the domestic part of his and the geopolitical construct in what he's trying to do. First and foremost is that what Munir has basically done is converted Pakistan into a military state. Pakistan today has become a military dominated state where the political authority no longer exists, as rightly brought out by just about everybody, and they are all subservient to the military. I'll also like to highlight one single point, which is a correction of sorts, not really mentioned, is that Munir has never commanded a corps. He has never commanded a corps. He became from the DGISI to the army chief, and so he is also like his current ISI chief, not this thing. So General KJ sir, I do not know whether this issue of being a corps commander would refrain his ISI chief from becoming the next chief. I do not know, but as things stand, this is the reality of life. As far as Munir is concerned, somebody has correctly characterized him as religiously performative. He performs religiously. He is a very religious man, domestically repressive, and geopolitically obedient. That is his basic character. I repeat, religiously performative, domestically repressive, and geopolitically obedient. In terms of his handling of the internal state of Pakistan is concerned, after he has done away with the PTI unrest of 20, May 20, 2023, it led to GOC 4 core, large scale repression. In fact, it was very sad to hear the ex servicemen people, generals who used to come for track to dialogue, openly abusing him for repression. And it was so bad that even the women of the service officers and the veterans were not forgiven. I mean, they also had to go through the same kind of treatment. So there was this whole anti Munir feeling building up in Pakistan just about the time when Pahalgam happened. So what has happened is that he started using an excessive military power to curtail dissent. Kangaroo courts, uh, judiciary being made what's called judiciary being converted into kangaroo court, coercion of the free press, uh, and all this was happening when Pakistan was struggling with unemployment, economy was collapsing, education system was collapsing, and there was a huge amount of anti-army perspective feeling inside the country. And in this backdrop, and most interestingly, as an anecdote, let me explain to you, is that we had a track two meeting in February this year, and there one of the issues that was discussed was that by and large we have spent ourselves on discussing Kashmir. It cannot be resolved. Let's look in terms of a 10 to 15 year standstill agreement on Kashmir. And in fact, in a very interesting uh, tit for tat, a former foreign minister of Pakistan and a former chief of general staff had literally slanging match on this issue of what we have done for our Kashmir, what we have done for Pakistani occupied Jammu and Kashmir. So this was the status that there was a feeling that Kashmir is by and large is a spent force and let's move forward. And it is in this backdrop the Pahalgam happened. We can, at least I, as a person who has been in discussing these issues with these guys and seeing this Pahalgam. So the Pahalgam was rightly being explained by our analysts and all of us over here today was a contrived incident to change the narrative from internal discourse to an externalized threat environment and do an act which will most certainly force India to retaliate. This is what he has been. So, important point is that the way, if we see that the narrative in Pakistan has been shaped post Op Sindoor, the way the editorials are coming, the way the substacks writings are coming, the whole idea today is to paint Pakistan as somebody who has stood up to a stronger country, who has been able to inflict some kind of a damage, and this, together with the way the international narrative has shaped out, they are he is leveraging that to strengthen his position within Pakistan. So this is an important aspect which we need to understand. So right now the mood within Pakistan is, although the Pakistanis are very nervous, it was told to me by a very senior Pakistani military officer who I have a lot of respect for, who is an intelligent chap. He said, sir, there's the mood is very nervous. because this man is now trying to shape the discourse within Pakistan with an empty pocket. There is no money, there are no resources, no nothing. And yet, today, nobody dares stand up against him, primarily because there is this whole sense of victory, whole sense of notional victory. In that, in this discourse, enters United States of America. There also a gentleman who is the president of the United States is trying to seek another victory for himself on his attempt to get a Nobel Peace Prize. Although, mind you, the date for the last entry was in February this year, that has gone, but that's besides the point. So the issue now is he sees an opening. Where does this opening come from? Let me also put at rest what actually happened on the 9th, 10th night. Vice President Vance spoke to India. They say things are escalating. Please try and stop this, etc., etc., etc. Then our attacks took place on the 10th of May. Munir Khan first spoke to Rubio, Secretary of State.
Yes.
And then when he spoke to Secretary of State, they went into a huddle. They said it has to be stopped. And once they decided that this has to be done, that's the time when the wheel started moving. Since India was not accepting the fact that there can be a third party intervention, so it had to be orchestrated. And that orchestration was done after the Nur Khan attack took place and Pakistanis were exposed. Once they were exposed, they decided to leverage this sort of a situation of disadvantage to their advantage by accepting ceasefire. And I'm told that when the DGMO of Pakistan rang up our DGMO, he said, we want ceasefire. I'm sure Rubio has spoken to you. So our people said, no, there's no call from Rubio to us. We are not aware of any Rubio. You are wanting ceasefire? We will consider ceasefire. We'll come back to you. So now what happens? It is in this discourse, a narrative is built up between Munir and Mr. Trump, who's keen, and the American deep state. And in this American deep state, Rubio is not a part. The people are the CIA chief and the command and central command chief Kurilla, General Kurilla, who start praising him, and they look at it as a leverage. And for them, this leverage comes at a time when Iran is hotting up and things are getting out of control with Israel. Israel is attacking Iran. Iran is 60% uranium. We have done a paper on that. It's on the India review that they could have within a week or 10 days could have some kind of a nuclear device, but which is not very here or there. But the whole idea was to stop Iran. So this whole narrative of Iran became important issue. The second issue which became important for the Americans was the emergence of a new quad on the continental space. The rimland is being dominated by the Americans in Indo-Pacific strategy. And here again, please try and understand, the rimland is not being dominated by United States and its allies all through. Their domination finishes at the Malacca Strait. In fact, earlier than that, in the Philippines. The area beyond that, there is no American domination. There is only one player. There is India. But in the American scheme of things, India was flirting around with far too many elements, balls in the air, and was not a trusted player and needed to be coerced. Multipolarity, strategic autonomy, no concessions on tariffs, and after the 7th of May, perception that India's credibility as a military power is there but is not adequate enough to deal with the Chinese threat. So we need a period of some period of some kind of a period of cooling of tempers, and we need to reassess our entire priorities. So these are the elements which were driving these guys. And into this walks a man who, like I said, was willing and obedient player who looked upon this whole scheme of things from his perspective. Getting America back into play in continental space of Asia, making a deal of some sort to for the Americans should they need the Pakistani space, making a deal with the Americans on Iran, although the official statements coming out was that we will support even what the foreign minister or I think defense minister said, we can give you even nukes, then it was denied, etc. So the whole issue was that Iranian issue became a serious part of view, and if you have to rescue American forces, etc., American planes from there, Pakistan once again became an important issue. And added to that was the whole issue of terrorism, rise in terrorism in the region, particularly Balochistan, TTP, ISIS-K, and this whole region is becoming a turbulent region. So, Mr. Munir or Field Marshal Munir became a willing tool to be played along with the Americans for 2-3 reasons. One, to increase his credibility, to ensure that the American pressure on release of Imran Khan is reduced. Two, there was a perception going on in particularly in the military and the static establishment of Pakistan, that China is becoming too domineering, and very soon, if we things do not sort of handled properly, it can become a vassal state. And third issue is the perception and a strong perception, a strong understanding within the Pakistani strategic community, particularly the military community, is that the Americans can be handled. They do a lot of talking, they do a lot of posturing, etc., etc. We have been handling them for the last 20, 25 years. We can manage them. But in the meantime, get the IMF loan, get the Turks to provide assistance, get the spare parts of the damaged F-16s, and create a sort of a nuanced countervailing influence on the Chinese so that the Chinese do not think that they have this issue. And the last point was, from the American perspective, was that the Chinese had become too powerful and they were asserting themselves in the Indian Ocean region. And assertion of the Indian Ocean region and probably deployment of carrier battle groups in next 2 or 3 years in a fashion in which Gwadar becomes an important port, Iran becomes an important area of deployments, and Djibouti and with the Houthis. And also the fact is that the Americans are aware that after the attack on the nuclear facilities, the Bido had been operational Bido was released to them, as indeed couple of planes of SA-16 air defense system. So the picture was getting complicated over here. So in order to ensure a salience of Pakistan vis-a-vis the Indian threat is maintained through manipulating both China and United States. Second, ensure that the effect of any fallout of any incident in Iran is not really felt with this thing on Pakistan. And third, by offering a counter-terrorism role. Incidentally, there are reports which indicate the Americans might create a base once again, counter-terrorism base. Offering a counter-terrorism role to the United States in the region, the issue of dealing with Balochistan Liberation Front and army, and also the TTP, etc., could be managed. And on the other hand, with the Russia and China now giving a diplomatic this thing to Afghanistan, the problem again became less, and then you saw how the three leaders met, three foreign ministers met in Beijing, the Afghan, Pakistan, and the Chinese, to sort out their differences. So the whole issue is it's a big geopolitical game that is being played over here. Now, as far as India is concerned, we have to be very careful in what's happening. In my view, this is a short-term game which is being played. But the short term, I mean 4 to 5 years, this game will continue to play. So this is the 4 to 5 year windows that we have to enhance our military credibility and capability. Also start reaching out to like number of nice papers which have come out today in CASA to our neighborhood, and also take a final position as to how we want to deal with the Pakistanis. We are doing reasonably okay with the Chinese, but it's up to a limit. We can't go beyond that because the Chinese do not trust us at this particular point in time. And Chinese would be the most happiest player that if we become, if there is a rupture in our and American ties. Because if that happens, then India ceases to be really a major power. Because right now we are in the state of evolving into a regional major power. We are not yet there. And in geopolitical terms, we are constrained by our neighborhood. So from that perspective, this whole game is a little dicey for us at this particular point in time. So Asim Munir has played his cards very well. He thinks he's on top, but all these manipulations, as we have seen in the past, are only chancy. Soon the Chinese will have to take a call of how much of manipulation of them, transactional manipulation of the Chinese, is acceptable to them, and how much of the inroads of the Americans who are really there to re-establish themselves on the continental space is acceptable to them. How much does it impact them? These are the issues that will take care of it, and therefore, the point which we have to note is we should not self-deter ourselves, but look at the development from a very, very calm and deeper perspective and see what changes are happening over there. I don't care whether he becomes the president or not president. He is de facto the ruler of Pakistan today. I mean, his constitutional position has no bearing. But what is important is that the games, the geopolitical games that he's playing, that concerns me. I've tried to highlight some of them. So I'll stop here and take any questions. Sorry for taking a little longer time, I guess.
No, not at all, sir. Not at all. Thanks a lot. I think you covered a lot of ground about Munir and his geopolitical games which he's playing. And it doesn't matter whether he's a president or not. Whether he's a president or not is an internal issue, is what you said. And he's converted Pakistan into a military state. The three important things about Asim Munir is religiously performative, domestically repressive, and geopolitically obedient. So this is what is standing out, and the fact that he's manipulating the geopolitical system to his advantage and Pakistan's advantage. Uh, it doesn't matter whether he's a ruler or not. Fine. So we've had three views. Uh, I would say there's no definitive thing that, look, will he become a president or not? Okay, let's assume that he's a president. Even if he is not a president, how will he behave? What are his implications? What is the implications of future Pakistan with Munir as the president or not as a president? Is there going to be a change? Is there a thing which we have to watch out for? Or will he, as a president, become, get power goes to, his head? After all, power corrupts absolutely. That's an old statement. Will he pick up another bone with India? And what is the security implications of that? Will he go more towards USA or play USA out against China? Or will he ditch China? Or will he finish off Imran Khan? These are the questions at hand. So I would request all of you to answer this one simple question. What will Munir do from here on? What are the issues? I mean, you could put it in various formats. Sir, you could take it on first, Brigadier Saigal, sir.
Okay. In my view, Munir would, at one level, he will continue to maintain a degree of pressure, or let's put it this way. I mean, there will not be any improvement in our relationship as far as Munir is concerned. Like I have said earlier, in fact, I've given a report to people who met it down after our talk. Basically, they are trying to do two things. One is that they are saying is that if you don't want to talk, let's not talk. I mean, we are not interested in talking. The mood in Pakistan is changing. This is new Pakistan. This Pakistan is militarily strong. It is more confident, and we are not interested. If you are not interested in talking, that's the one part of his uh, thinking. The second part is they say, okay, you want to talk, let's talk about terror. But it will not be Kashmir terror. No way. It has to be a composite dialogue on terror, in which all aspects of terror, your terror against us in Balochistan, your support to TTP, your support to other elements in Pakistan, the political killings of the Lashkar-e-Taiba and other operatives in Pakistan, all those will be on the table. And this is being this hardening of sort of an attitude of Pakistan is emerging because Pakistan suddenly believes that it has become geopolitically more relevant. And it's become geopolitically more relevant both to the east and west. Now, this is the perception that they have. East, you saw what the Russians writing. Russia said we are not taking sides, but we want you to, like a prime minister said, this is not a era of wars. Now they are also saying the same thing back to us. What are you fighting for, etc. The second issue is the Indo-Pak tension as they relate to terror are losing credibility globally. People are not interested in our kind of terror. They are interested in what terror that hurts them in their part of the world. In this kind of terror, which in India perspective, in which we have said that zero tolerance to terror, terror and talks cannot go ahead, and if a terror action takes place, it will be an act of war, is being perceived as an unnecessary escalation. An escalation which can lead to a larger military conflict, even touching the nuclear dimension. So there is a degree of, let's say, fatigue on terror that is emerging. And this is being exploited by him. And this is going to be the rationale behind them trying to be a little tough with us or try to maintain a tougher posture vis-a-vis India and unreconciliatory posture vis-a-vis India. I think I'll stop here.
But thanks a lot, sir. So there's a hardening of stance from Pakistan. They feel they're geopolitically more relevant. That's very apparent in whatever they deal. And the fatigue of terrorism setting in, and Munir will make use of all this. A very interesting thing, and it's quite logical also. So, your views, General KJ, sir, on the same question. What will Munir do?
See, Munir will, minimum he'll ask for is uh, a revocation of 18th Amendment to Constitution. That means if he accepts the presidency, then he'll accept it in the form where he is semi-presidential form of government. That means he has the authority to dismiss the prime minister. He will put it as a condition and then only accept the presidency. That is one thing in my perception he'll do. Pakistan is known to give it a religious character to such governments, like when Pervez Musharraf ruled, he called it Nizam-e-Mustafa. Like when Imran was leading the elected government, he was looking for Riyasat-e-Madina. So
Madina.
some such religious Hafiz kind of cover would be given to this government, and this government will be propped up. And but he will not relinquish his appointment as army chief, or he will not vacate the army house. He will look for a surrogate, and when he is only confident with the surrogate, he will put him in the place. Geopolitically, we in India, I grew up in a generation where our aim was to discredit Pakistan army. That used to be our aim. I don't know what is the current aim. Now I laugh. Is it even possible? With every crisis, the Pakistan army stock keeps going up. So I do not know if it is why on one hand we say we don't want to hyphenate ourselves with Pakistan, but in our thinking we are wanting them as mirror image of ourselves. A democracy, a civilian government. Why? If there is a government, like whatever it is, a country gets a government that it deserves. We are nobody to foster a government on them. If that country has chosen to rule by a hybrid government, then it is time. I am sorry, our politicians must realize, especially our MEA guys, then we must talk to them. It is no point talking to some Waza Asif or some other character who's got no relevance. Talk to those who run that country. So please, we have to learn that thing. We can't be fooling ourselves. Then you say we are not hyphenating. This is the biggest hyphenation. You're looking at that country to be a mirror image of. Oh, sorry. That's to my way of thinking. It's not fair. China is too deeply invested in Pakistan. It can't pull out. CPEC is too far gone. There are projects like Dasu, Dimer Basa, Suki Kinari, huge big dams coming up, uh, Gwadar. So China is not going to go away in a hurry. China is there for a reason of its own. Pakistan doesn't need any Gwadar. It has got Jibani, it has got Ormara, it has got Pasni, it has got Sonmaini, it has got Port Bin Qasim, Karachi, Keti Bandar. All the ports are there. Why did it need? It does need Gwadar. Gwadar is for China, and airport is also for them. So China will not go away, but Americans are paying the price for their own mistake. When they exited Afghanistan, they had no business to go lock, stock, and barrel. Why did they run away like this? Why did they abandon Bagram base? Why did they leave all that equipment to be given to these terrorists and then used against us also? It's being used against us. So now America is paying a price. See, that's why I always say I am a little contrarian on that. This business of saying we will not talk at all, we are doing cutty with you, it doesn't work. You can't say you created Afghanistan, you fought for so many years, and on one fine day you say, Pakistan, you have cheated us, we are running away. It doesn't happen like this. It shouldn't happen like this. So now America is paying the price for it, actually. And Pakistan is extracting that price.
Yes.
Now Pakistan, China, America will have to find places in Afghanistan. It is already printing their currency, trying to do things with Afghanistan. It will also yield concessions to Pakistan to make bases over there. So, and also, I want to flag one more person who needs to be taken into account. He is a interesting character called as Zahir Ahmad Babbar Sidhu, who's the air
Yes.
chief
Yes.
on the second extension, not first, second. And his stock has gone up. He's running tutorials for Pentagon and others on air battle. Now, where will he be accounted? So they have to look at these things. These are problems for Pakistan, but I sincerely believe that we as Indians should allow Pakistan to rot in their own stew in whatever way it is. Wherever we have to be logical or rational with them, and we should not try to react to everything that's happening over there. We should learn to ignore them also, because we are aspiring to be a big nation. So that's my final bit. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, sir.
Enjoyed
No,
myself.
thanks a lot, sir. I think you made a very valid statement that we need to leave Pakistan to, stew in its own juices
Yes.
and ignore it. Right? Ignoring it is cutty. So virtually, the dilemma will continue whether you want to be cutty with him or you want to talk to
No,
him or
Chandrasekhar, I
you.
would
No,
like
no,
to.
no, no, no.
I'd
Let
like
me
to
let
say
me
one thing.
finish. No, let me finish. Let me
One
finish.
thing I would say to you, Chandrasekhar. I am a villager. In my village, we were taught that the big lambardar always used to engage with the badmash guy. He used to call
Yeah.
him occasionally and tell him कि भाई सब ठीक तो है, तेनू दारू वारू मिल रही है कि नहीं मिल रही है, एक अद्धी बोतल तू साडे कोलों भी ले जा. तो Pakistan has to be given that role in our neighborhood.
Yeah. So
Right.
Pakistan. So that means virtually you could be cutty, but you still talk to him. You don't mean what you say. You convey what you want to do. It's a tough ask. What I'm trying to get at is it's a tough ask. What do you want to do with this problem child called Pakistan, who all of a sudden has become geopolitically relevant, who feels he's, doing a lot of, he's now, I mean, the thing what you said about Babur Sidhu, teaching Pentagon on how to fight air wars, new issues. So we are looking at a new Pakistan really, and we need to, think differently. That's what you really actually have come out with. With this, sir, then Gautam Murthy, sir, your views. What do you think Munir and company will do, and what are they up to?
Thank you, General Shankar. You see, I have been trying to study and look into the Pakistan Army for many years now. And as some of your viewers would be knowing, I've even made a trip to Pakistan officially as a brigadier, as a secretary of NDC. I've seen them at close quarters. To me, and I've read enough books about the Pakistan Army to know where it stands. If you look at Pakistan polity as a triangle, as a pyramid, you will see the top of the pyramid is the Pakistan Army. There is no doubt about it. Babur Sidhu has learnt a lot from the Pakistan Army. He's perhaps the only other chief who has made a name for himself in such a infamous manner by having, I think, 11 or 12 of his officers court-martialed, senior officers at that. So in this pyramid, the Pakistan Army is right at the top. Within the Pakistan Army, this corps commander level, DGISI and all, they are at another super level of the Pakistan Army. And sitting on them is the chief. Now, General Shankar, you and I have done this before. We've held a seminar, a webinar. I think we've held 2 or 3 webinars on this as to how Munir has reached the top, how many people have been sidelined. We even wondered whether there would be a coup in the Pakistan army. And when we finally came to the conclusion that he is making himself all too powerful. Now, take that with political power, take that the chief with, after having ensured that nobody, not a single officer who has spoken even remotely one word against him, is in service. And there, when a person is sent out of service under the Draconian Army Act 100 and 190 or something, it's a very draconian act. You're out. It's like in India when you go through the presidential line and the president is pleased to dismiss with their service. The army chief has that power. So he has ensured that there is no opposition whatsoever. And you've seen what he has done with the topmost, most popular leader in Pakistan, political leader. You can imagine what he has done with his younger brothers in uniform. So now he has usurped political power, he has usurped diplomatic power, but he still seeks recognition to be treated as a leader of a country. De facto ruler is not good enough for him. He feels that he's been ordained to be the leader of the country. So to my mind, he will willy-nilly put on the 2 hats of the president as well as the chief of army staff. And I completely agree with KJ. He's not going to relinquish this appointment in a hurry. He is a field marshal today, and field marshals do not retire. So it is between Allah, Munir, and the rest of Pakistan and the rest of the world. How we handle it, or how we ought to handle it, General KJ has mentioned. My Guru, Brigadier Sehgal, has spoken eloquently on that. So this is all that I will say. To my mind, he is likely to become the president of Pakistan. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks a lot, sir, for your wonderful views. What comes out after this very interesting discussion is we are looking at a Pakistan which has regained its mojo of being a international geopolitical player, and it at one level, and it's also regained its mojo against India. And today it rather would deal with India militarily and not bother too much about its economy and other things. And it feels that it can handle India. It also has the confidence of being able to juggle between USA and China. And all this is thanks to Mr. Asim Munir. Let's be very clear. By doing whatever he did in triggering this war called Op Sindoor, he has put himself in a position where a pivotal position for everyone concerned, right? And he's done that. And he's probably, the word deceiver suits him because he's deceived virtually everyone on this. So what is he going to do next is a $1 million question. Whether he becomes a president or not. Whether he becomes a president plus a chief of army staff, which is the most logical thing for him to continue, is yet to be seen and yet to be rolled out. But whatever he does, there are fundamental things which have come out today after today's talk. Is one, he will remain anti-India. There is no 2 ways about it. He'll remain a Hafiz. He will go the hard religious route, and he will take recourse to religion at the drop of a hat. And one thing which if you notice, today the whole talk was about military and geopolitics. We never spoke of what will happen to Pakistan. This is a fracture which is waiting to happen. Whether you like it or not, Pakistan doesn't have the capability to sort out its fundamental problems, whether IMF gives its loan or not, or whatever. So I think we're going to come to a pass, not now, maybe after 5-6 months, maybe even after a year, when the real weakness of Pakistan starts surfacing or resurfacing. And it is at that point of time we'll have to see what this fellow does. because at that point of time, he's going to be in charge of a very unstable nation, as it's never been a stable nation. And by then, we'll see what moves he makes. But whatever moves he makes will be towards India. And that we should not have a doubt, and we should prepare and start second guessing him what he's up to. And today evening's discussion is all about that. And I'd like to thank all three of you for having come out with your points of view, where different points of view which we've seen today. I think that's what makes this webinar very special. I thank you, and we'll get back to this topic in a different format as things go by, and geopolitics and internal dynamics of Pakistan roll out. With this, sir, Jalmurthy sir, a final word from you, and we could close the webinar. And
Thank
for all the viewers, I'd request today I'm not going to take any questions. We'll take a questions tomorrow or day after in our next session. I'm sorry for this, but I think we've run out of time today. Jalmurthy sir.
Thank you very much, General Shankar, for hosting this wonderful discussion and for steering it to the subject that is close to our hearts, that we need to be careful about and to be aware about. And I thank my Guru, Brigadier Sehgal, sir, for your fantastic insights. I thank General KJ, a very respected colleague of ours, for your deep insights too. Thank you all very much. Thank you, viewers. It has been wonderful for your sparing your time and your taking the and patience and your patience for hearing us out. Thank you all very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, and Jai Hind to everyone.
Jai.